You're listening to the official Minnesota Wild podcast, presented by Acrisure.
Now here to talk about the Minnesota Wild and the NHL. From the Wild, Kevin Fallness. And from the Fan, Brandon Micheletti.
Hey, welcome to another episode of KFAN Wild Weekly. As you just heard the announcer say, I am Brandon Micheletti from the Fan. Kevin Fallness from the Minnesota Wild Radio Network joins me as always. How you doing, Kevin?
I think really good. Would have been nice to squeeze out the 2 points, even 1 point last night in Montreal, but 4 out of 6 on the road trip, not terrible.
Yeah, and after that tough home stretch, right, where you lose to the Devils at home and you lose to the Winnipeg Jets 6-2 at home, and you have all the injuries to Eriksson Ek and Boldy and Brodin and Johansson and Bogosian, you're thinking, man, this could kind of tailspin on us. And to have that big win in Buffalo against the Red Hot Sabres on Saturday, followed up with a nice win in Toronto Monday night. Almost had a chance for 1 point minimum last night, but you could tell they were a little tuckered last night, just didn't have it against Montreal.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty impressive what and the thing about dealing with injuries for this team, it's nothing new. It's getting old, it's tiresome, and especially if you just look at the last 2 seasons, what they've gone through from an injury standpoint. I remember talking earlier this year, I think somewhere in the middle of December, they went to Columbus missing 7 regulars. Well, they're back on that train again. It's only 5 this time, but your entire second line is out of action. Jonas Brodin, Zach Bogosian as well, and yet here they are. I didn't have high expectations for the road trip, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
I mean, they got their doors blown off against the Devils and Jets, got just 1 out of 6 points on the 3-game homestand. And then, like you said, you're going into Buffalo against a team that had won 15-17, going to Toronto, which is never easy, and against a very good Montreal Canadiens team as well. My expectations weren't high, and yet there they are. They had a chance to sweep it, and unfortunately came 15 seconds away from doing just that.
I said this on the Common Man program earlier this week, and I'll repeat it with you. You know, in past years, if a superstar went out to injury, like this team was just shot, they were done. And having the addition of Quinn Hughes gives you another superstar in your chamber, right? So that when a Matt Boldy goes out, and that's a tough loss, and a Joel Eriksson Ek goes out, that's a tough loss, you still got a Quinn Hughes and a Kirill Kaprizov that on any given day, that line or that player can carry the load for you and give you a chance to win.
Yeah, I mean, Hughes is a quarterback back there, and it's not just a quarterback on the power play. He's a quarterback on this team anytime he's on the ice, which is roughly half the game. I mean, he's logging 30 minutes a night, and he's, taking up a lot of minutes. And I don't know if I said this with you or who I said it with. Ryan Suter used to play a lot of minutes, and he'd demand to be out there 30-some minutes. Ryan Suter wasn't logging the type of minutes that Quinn Hughes is, where the puck is constantly on his stick.
Yeah.
And he can shoot it, he can set up passes or set up plays, feed. I mean, his numbers are fantastic. 19 games now in a Wild uniform. 21 points, another assist last night in the loss to Montreal. But, yeah, I mean, he's been fantastic, a complete game changer for this franchise.
Well, Brock Faber scored again last night. He has 11 goals on the season. I know he's had a lot more points in recent games, and it's like, well, he's now playing with Quinn Hughes half the game. So
yeah, right.
You're on the ice with Quinn Hughes. He's going to put you in, and he's going to put everyone else on the team in spots, in positions where they can get points.
And they're still saying this thing about, well, we're not 100% comfortable. Wait till we get there. Man, I can't wait to see what that looks like. I mean, he's been here now for, like I said, 19 games, and it just keeps getting better and better. So, yeah, I mean, as these guys continue to get better and more acclimated with each other, they've got a great opportunity here. I mean, and that's what I would tell fans. I mean, it's one thing to hear about him on the radio or watch him on TV. Go watch him in person. Quinn Hughes and what he can do with the puck. The TV angles don't catch everything that he does when he's, doing his little dipsy doodles right inside the blue line or taking it into the low slot. He's amazing. So much fun to watch.
All right, short segment here because we got to go along with former Golden Gopher great and now Beyond the Pond co-host Pat Micheletti. He breaks down the Minnesota Wild next right here on KFAN Wild Weekly.
Right side, Suzuki trying to get around Stern. He did. Nick Suzuki got off near the goal line by Tarasenko, so he lobbed it back up top for Hudson. Once more Suzuki on the pop-out play. Caulfield scores. Cole Caulfield with 15 seconds left has put Montreal in front 4-3.
Yeah, Wild 15 seconds away from a point. They don't get it. Cole Caulfield beats them, and the Wild lose 4-3 last night in Montreal. I'm Brandon Micheletti, Kevin Fallness from the Minnesota Wild with me, as always, and we're pleased to be joined by Kevin's co-host on Beyond the Pond. They don't have a Beyond the Pond this weekend. So he's fortunately joining us for KFAN Wild Weekly. How you doing, Pat Micheletti?
Good, Brandon and Kevin. Good to talk to you guys.
Always great to talk with you. Let's talk about that game last night. It seemed like the Wild from the get-go were getting outplayed pretty badly there. It still had a chance to salvage a point, but probably the just result ended up happening.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Montreal's a really fast team. They have got some really, really good young players, as we saw last night. And Minnesota looked a little tired, especially in that first period. I thought they got better as the game went along, and they had their opportunities, and unfortunately, give up one. 30 seconds to go. It would have been nice to get a point, potentially get that second one, but didn't happen. Good road trip overall.
This isn't about the Montreal Canadiens. We're talking about the Minnesota Wild, but you talk about those young guys on that Canadiens roster. Two of them got snubbed by Bill Guerin and Team USA, and both of them were great last night. Lane Hudson is just a phenomenal defenseman there from the University of Michigan. And then Cole Caulfield, of course, 15 seconds left, just snipes one top shelf. They would look good on that red, white, and blue roster. I know you got to fit your roster compared to what you're trying to accomplish there on the ice, but those are two guys that really made a case for themselves last night.
So you want to cut Quinn Hughes? Is that what you're saying? Because,
exactly.
In essence, I mean, Hudson is going to be a future Hughes-type player. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, what do you want, right? And so It is really difficult. And I'm just giving you a hard time, Kevin.
I know you are.
But I mean, I think you guys understand the talent pool is really good, and it would be great to sit in that room where they're discussing who they're going to take and not take. Cole Caulfield deserves to be on that team, but then who's he going to replace? And so you and I, or the three of us, might have both those guys on there and play. We're going to play this type of style, and so you know what? Guerin is the general manager. He will be judged on how this team finishes at the Olympics. If he wins gold, hey, made all the right picks. If he doesn't, then they should have taken this guy, that guy, and the other guy. So, that's just, I think that's a good thing for USA Hockey when they have these types of decisions.
Pat, let's talk about Quinn Hughes since you brought him up. Then, how have you evaluated this trade so far? Obviously, he's not perfect defensively. He'll make some. He's got some flaws in his own zone, but in terms of, I don't know if there's a defenseman in the league who's better with a puck on his stick than him, and there's probably not a lot of forwards that are better than him with a puck on a stick either.
It's just so much fun to watch. How he spins out of trouble is the most amazing thing to me. And then secondly, Brandon, you and I and Kevin, we've all talked about, man, it'd be nice to get a little bit bigger on the back end, especially in the playoffs. But then I was thinking about it, I'm like, well, if he gets back there and he gets the puck, he is a one-pass guy out of the zone. He's a breakout machine. And then, with Faber as his partner, they don't get hemmed in very often when those two are out there. Of course it's going to happen. But, for the most part, there goes, the thought process of, we need a big, lugging defenseman back there to handle the hits and protect the front of your net. But you know what? If he gets a puck in a stick, they're out of the zone, then they're not in your zone, right? So, he's been a pleasure to watch, and he's been great since he's been here.
Sorry to cut Kevin off, but I just want to follow up on Quinn Hughes quick. Sorry, Kevin. I saw an analyst on NHL Network just the other day that was like, I wouldn't be playing Quinn Hughes as much as the Wild are playing him right now, right? He's leading the league in minutes, and it's not even close. Yeah. And he's like, well, it's an Olympic year, it's a compressed schedule. And, Pat, I get it to a certain extent, but I also look at Quinn Hughes and go, I don't see him playing a lot of minutes and getting worn down, right? Like he's not delivering big hits. He never gets hit. He doesn't take any hits. He seems like he can go for on and on and on. Like I just don't feel like he's expending that much energy, even though he's playing more than everybody else.
Yeah, and then the next question that analysts should ask Quinn Hughes, try taking me off the ice.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, he wants to play, and he's a rink rat, Brandon, right? I mean, just watch him play. And so, I don't think it bothers him. He knows how to control his energy, as you just mentioned. And so, no, I don't think I don't think that's an issue.
Wild have 3 superstars on their roster right now. One of them's injured. You guys talked about Quinn Hughes. Let's talk about the other one, Kirill Kaprizov, tied for the team lead in goals with 25, but Patrick has not scored in the year 2026. He has not scored since New Year's Eve. What's your level of concern right now with number 97?
0. Absolutely 0. We talk about this every year. Go back and check what we talked about last year. Always in a slump. Go back and check about the year before. Always in a slump. Guess what? End of the day, he's going to have over 40 goals. And, yeah, he's got 3 in his last 16. Okay. There are reasons for that. And I'm not going to be an excuse meter for Kirill Kaprizov. All I know is at the end of the day, he's going to have over 40, 45, and maybe close to 50. And so I have 0 level of concern.
Well, with all those injuries Kevin just mentioned, one guy that stepped up in the last couple of games, that would be Vladimir Tarasenko. 2 goals on the power play last night. He had 2 goals the night before in Toronto, and he could have had a third. He missed an empty netter, and then on the second one, he decided to defer to Foligno and give the puck to Foligno, so he almost had a hat trick in that one. But 8 points in his last 4 games. A little bit of a slow start. There were probably question marks when he was signed, but he's been pretty darn good lately.
He's he's surprising me, no question. And I was one of those guys saying, I'm not so sure this was a good signing. And you know what? He doesn't have to play as many minutes now. Well, now he does with all the injuries. But he will not be playing as many minutes when all these guys come back, which I think is a good thing. He'll still get his power play time. And again, guys, how many times have we talked about this team needs more depth scoring? And I'll refer back to Kirill right now, 3 in his last 16. Guess what? Other guys are stepping up. We should be applauding that. And guess what? They're still winning. Yeah, they had a 3-game skid, but they're winning, and they're right there. And so sometimes we look for excuses, and the expectations are, crazy off the charts for one game in mid-January. I think, look where they are in the standings. Look what they built. Yes, do I do think they need another forward, whether it be a centerman or a winger? I would love to add another depth defenseman for sure. But, that's on Guerin, and we'll see what he ends up doing. But, they're winning, and so that's the good thing.
The depth scoring has been great. Foligno, Tarasenko, Hartman. It's been incredible the last few games, this road trip in particular. Another guy that's on that line with Vladimir Tarasenko, because of the injury problems, they've had to jumble things up, and it's happened a few times this season where they've had that all-Russian line. Trenion's playing like a wrecking ball. He's throwing back shades of Cal Clutterbuck, the way he's piling up hits. But Danila Yurov in the middle of that line, what have you thought about his progression over the course of this season? Because where he began to where he is, I feel like he's made incredible strides.
Wouldn't trade him. Hope he's not involved in a deal that they potentially could make. He's been great. And, we talked about him, last time I was on with you guys about a month ago, and just his progression to that point. And where he's gotten, he is really good defensively. We got to wait for the offense to come, but I think it's going to be there. But no, he's been terrific. And yeah, Trenion, different player this year, and really engaged, just like Johansson, much more engaged every shift. And I can't wait to see him on the fourth line where he'll be slotted after they do make a move and they make a run, in the conference, in the playoffs.
Talking with Pat Micheletti, co-host with Kevin Fallness on Beyond the Pond, Saturdays, 10 a.m. to noon. You won't be able to hear him this Saturday, but they'll be back the following Saturday. Pat, I look at the goals against the last 6 games. 4 last night to Montreal, 3 to Toronto, 4 to Buffalo, 6 in Winnipeg, 5 to New Jersey, and then 4 to New York Islanders. So over the last 6 games, they're giving up a lot of goals. What do you attribute that to? Is it goaltending, or do you have any concerns about the goaltending slipping? Is it defensively? Is it maybe that Eriksson Ek injury contributing? What do you attribute to the amount of goals they're giving up, and is there any concern there moving forward?
Well, the easy one and the simple one and the most talked about one is always that comes out first is the goaltending. I will, till the day I die, I will stick to what I always say. I think it's a combination of both. I'd have to go back, and we'd have to go back and look at every goal. Have there been some softies? Yes. Have there been some breakdowns defensively? And I'm not just saying from the defense, but from a unit of 5, which the last I heard, all defend in the defensive zone. So I think it's a combination of both. And, whether that be, the team being tired, the goalies being a little tired, not that attention to detail that they need there. I think it's a combination of both. I can't wait for the break so these guys get some rest, and when they do get back, they'll get that swagger back.
All right, let's bring a topic back from this past weekend on Beyond the Pond when we talked about potential trade targets, and the New York Rangers have basically put everyone up for sale. Not really, but kind of. And one guy that was on that list that I think you really liked was Vinny Trocheck. That's the guy that you would like Bill Guerin to target?
Well, you know what? I just to confirm my wanting to get Trocheck, I made a call to my brother Joe, who you both know well. And I asked him about Vinny and his game and all that, and he thinks he would be the perfect fit for Minnesota. Just the kind of things that we talked about on the show, Kevin. He can win draws. He's got a little bit of offense in him. He can play the power play. He's Brandon. You'll love you and I love this term that we joke about. That 200-foot guy, but he's really good in his own end, too. And so if they can get him for the right price, then, yeah, he would be my number one target.
Yeah, Pat, I kind of find this trade deadline to be kind of fascinating because for the first time in a long time, the Wild have cap space, at least for this season, where they can bring in a big-name rental. They can bring in somebody. But I'm also like, you kind of got to know what Quinn Hughes is going to do here moving forward. You might not know until the summer. Right? If Quinn Hughes is going to be here, maybe you're getting a Jack Hughes here in a couple seasons,
and a Luke Hughes,
or you gotta spend a certain amount on Hughes, and you already got money spent on Kaprizov. So, and they're kind of limited on what they can give away at this point, and you might want to save that for a rainy day. So, I really think this trade deadline is going to be kind of fascinating. How do you think Bill Guerin's going to approach this?
Well, I think there's going to be a lot of thought process going into it, and a lot of. Do I feel confident I can sign Quinn Hughes? How much money do I have left? Just everything that you talked about. There's going to have to be a lot of conversations. Is it going to be one of those, Brandon, where, maybe he's unsure Hughes is going to sign, but he says, I've got him now. I'm going to spend it to bring in, if I can get player X, Y, or Z, bring him in and really, really go for it this year. So, because how many cracks at it do you have to get at winning a Stanley Cup? And how difficult is it to win a Stanley Cup? What Florida has done is crazy. They're winning, 3 in a row. So it is, it's some really tough decisions are going to be coming up for him.
All right, Patrick, tomorrow night the Detroit Red Wings are in town. Kirill Kaprizov hasn't scored in 2026. The Wild haven't won at home since before Christmas. 5 straight losses on home ice. I don't know, man. It's going to be a tough one tomorrow night against the Red Wings team. You look at the Eastern Conference standings, you expect to see Carolina there, Tampa there. Detroit's right there at the top of the standings in the Eastern Conference. How are they getting it done? What are the Wild up against?
Well, they got some good young players also. Sider back on defense. He's a potential Norris Trophy winner in a couple of years. Lucas Raymond is a stud up front. Dylan Larkin, high-ender. They've got more depth than they've had. They've got, they have McClellan's done a really good job there in terms of, getting them more disciplined in the way that they play. Because if you look at their lineup, and their lineup is a little different than last year, not overly different, but I thought last year, man, watch out for this team. And they were so undisciplined in all facets of their game. And this year, I think he's got them dialed in a little bit better. And so, they're a tough out.
Pat, always great to chat with you, and look forward to hearing you on Beyond the Pond soon.
Thanks, guys. I always appreciate being on with you guys. Thank you.
See you, Patrick.
All right, Pat Micheletti, along with Kevin Fallness, the co-host of Beyond the Pond. You won't be able to hear him this Saturday, but every other Saturday morning, 10 a.m. to noon, they talk hockey better than anyone here in the state of hockey. Kevin, even though we're back at home, the next two games, a little bit later start times, 8:30 tomorrow night against the Red Wings because it's nationally televised. And then, of course, you got Hockey Day Minnesota on Saturday, so that Florida Panthers game's at 8 o'clock. So you'll be up a little bit later those next two games.
Yeah, that's okay. We're back on home ice. Again, looking to break up that 5-game losing streak at Grand Casino Arena, so they get a great opportunity Thursday in front of the home crowd. Like you said, 8:15 pregame, puck drop at 8:40 Thursday against the Detroit Red Wings. Available on your television via ESPN, but of course, #MuteTV, and bring Joe, Tom, myself into your living room. We'll be happy to guide you through the night.
We'll talk to you next week.
I can't wait.
All right. Thanks to Kevin Fallness. Thanks to Pat Micheletti. I'm Brandon Molesky. This has been another episode of KFAN Wild Weekly. Thank you for listening. We'll talk to you next week.
For an extraordinary advantage in sports, you need a game plan. For an extraordinary advantage everywhere else, all you need is Acrisure. With a high-tech human approach to insurance, cybersecurity, and more, Acrisure helps you take care of what you care about. That makes winning easy. See what Acrisure's extraordinary advantage can do for you at Acrisure.com.